Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martin Warwick. We're in Amsterdam at the RAI, the big exhibition centre here. We're at Broadband World Forum 2014 and I'm talking with Nicholas Fischbach from Colt.
Morning, Martin.
Good morning, Nico. We meet again. It's good to see you. This is a good show because there are a lot of service providers here, and service providers are an elusive breed. You don't see them gathered together very often in a place like that, so it's good for me as a journalist to be able to talk, and it must be good for you to be able to meet your compatriots and representatives of other service providers and talk about what's going on.
Exactly, and vendors, and see what they're doing in the IoT space.
Good, because the very first thing I want to talk to you about, nice lead-in, is IoT, the Internet of Things. We're told that by 2020 there will be at least 26 billion devices, things, connected to the web, to the internet, machine to machine. Your toothbrush will be in contact with your
probably not
with your razor,
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Whatever. But there's it's an enormous potential opportunity. But you're facing competition as usual from the over-the-top players. So what do you perceive as being service providers' Colt's opportunity for IoT, and how quickly must you move to take advantage of it?
It's quite interesting because Colt is a business-to-business service provider.
Indeed.
So, and IoT by definition is really a consumer, service. It's we consume it as end users.
But
somebody needs to provide the backend infrastructure. You need network connectivity, wireless, the backhaul, the fiber in the ground. You need data centers, big data centers with compute power. That's what we're providing. So why we're not facing the end user, the end consumer, we're really helping all those over the top, all the service providers actually deliver this experience. That's where we're strong at with our assets.
Okay. What do you think then service providers in general, Colt being one of them, what do you need to do technically and commercially to ensure that you can actually leverage the opportunity you have now in terms of having the network there?
It's really about transformation again. Last week we spoke a lot about SDN and NFV. I think it's the same theme, right? It's virtualizing this environment to make sure those OTT players or people providing IoT, machine to machine, and so on can consume this in a different way, in a much more flexible way. You talk about response time of seconds, not minutes. So the infrastructure sitting behind it needs to be as dynamic as the customer experience. So what we've done is really transforming the network itself to be higher bandwidth, much more flexible. Same thing with the data center. The compute side of it. It's really this change of something very static, a very paper-based user experience, with delays of minutes, days, months, sometimes back in the days to sub-second today, right? So whatever you want to present to the user needs to be supported by a very similar behaving architecture in the back end. That's what we're focusing on. This is the type of transformation going through. What
products, what does your service that you provide to other service providers actually look like? What is it?
There's a lot of mobile backhaul, obviously, because IoT also means wireless by definition. The home will be wired, to some extent, but a lot of it is the consumer experience on the mobile handheld, the smartphones, and so on. So the service providers in the wireless space, the mobile space, they'll need this backhaul connectivity back to us, back to their data centers, back to our data centers, back to other data centers. That's where we're playing strong. Plus, they will need the compute power to deal with it. Big data crunching, east-west traffic, customer analytics, all this experience, you need a lot of power, and we're here to help deliver that.
Now, let's have a look at network transformation for a moment, Nico, if we could. Everything is predicated and based upon cloud infrastructure, availability of cloud, to be able to provide and to accommodate the new technology we just mentioned, SDN, NFV, software-defined networks and networks functions virtualization. First of all, tell us about Colt's involvement in these new technologies, and secondly, how much of an effect it is having on you, and how much of an effect do you think it will have on your customers?
We've already done a lot of things, both in SDN and NFV. We paved the way on the number of technologies. VHCP was one of the first enablers, making it faster, more seamless, and making service more dynamic to end customers. End customers in this case, not being the enterprise, but being also service providers. Same thing with NFV. We started to virtualize part of the services. Once the IoT services pick up, well, we virtualize the services too on behalf of those service providers. And SDN will enable us to connect all those things together. So the network will provide the physical connectivity, and SDN will help us provide the logic connectivity, what people call service chaining. So then when one customer wants to consume more than one IoT service or more complex IoT service, we'll just pick whatever components they need, put them together in, call it the technical service wrap, but offer it as one single customer experience. 2 service providers, maybe as a white label or as a service to them that they will then resell, consume, and so on, with the end users.
Okay. Now, final question on the network transformation business. There's always a pressure point, a choke point, a bottleneck somewhere in a network. There wouldn't be networks otherwise, and these move around, as we know, over the years. With such things of SDN and NFV technologies now coming into play and reaching trial stage, and won't be that long before they're commercially deployed, BSS and OSS, or OSS first and then BSS, which follows logically from it, always a back office function, having had more and more exposure to the front office in recent years and really being important to the future of the networks. Do you think that's going to be the next pressure point, the next pain point that needs to be sorted out?
It is critical. I mean, OSS and BSS, because they're tightly linked. Especially you mentioned the customer experience, billing, online portals, CRM, and so on, super important. That's one of the lessons learned. We are early movers in SDN and NFV. So when you say commercial stuff, actually we've done commercial stuff. We're actually delivering those services, some of them for over a year to customers, SDN and NFV based. And the pain point was actually OSS first of all, and then the BSS backend. So it is going to be the next battle for sure. And one of the other lessons learned is that everybody looked at SDN and NFV and this network transformation as a network engineering dream job. Well, actually, we kind of let the IT and system architects on the side for way too long. And we brought them back in now and put them at the forefront of it, because the next piece of the transformation is actually next generation OSS stack, all the customer-facing systems, all the ordering systems, and making sure they're tightly linked. Because it's nice to be dynamic on the network, but if your billing system isn't, how do you deal with the customer experience, the customer demand, and so on? So yeah, that's the next big one for us for sure, and I also think for the industry as a whole.
Well, thanks for that, Nico. Interesting stuff. And as I say, it's great to speak to service providers. I'm going to ask you a more light-hearted question now, and to see what you think of it. You, as the representative of a service provider, are bombarded daily with emails, with pleas, with begging letters, visits from vendors saying, look, buy this, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. You have a whole range of choice, but there's a lot of pressure coming from the vendors for service providers to buy. If the boot was on the other foot for a change, and you had the opportunity to have access to the vendor ecosystem and to tell them one thing straight to their face, what would it be?
Well, there'll be quite a few things. Probably things I don't want to mention here, because otherwise it's going to be a big beep, on the video. But I think they have to become practical. As you said, every vendor on earth today has a play in SDN and NFV. Some of it is mock-up screen, some of it is real. Not too much is real, probably. So it is, becoming practical. Helping us deliver those new services faster, and not just coming up with point solutions saying they are open, they want to partner, they're open to partnerships. Been there, done that. So I think they really have to partner for real, and come with solutions. We saw a lot of early partnerships that they put this way at the EDC and VPOC last week at the Layer 1 to 3 event. I want to see more of that, but faster. And I also honestly would like to see some stuff die off, because then at least we can concentrate again on a clear ecosystem and not a landscape which is full spectrum, has so many options. I mean, it's driving us nuts, honestly. So I'm looking for some sort of consolidation.
Well, you can wish. Nico Fischbach, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Martin.